Good morning. This is week 7, the final week of Social Work 670, Grief and Loss Across the Life Cycle. As always, going to our learning resources, you will see 2 additional resources that I added to the resource section. One is a PowerPoint on cross-cultural issues at the end of life. This is based on workshops that I have done on cross-cultural issues. It's meant to just give a little bit of insight in terms of how some groups deal with the subject of death and dying. And then in the University of Pennsylvania magazine called the Gazette, their latest issue has an article on talking to the bereaved. And this is for those of you who have expressed that you do not know what to say for people who have experienced a loss, especially because of death. And so this is a very short article that gives some insight as to what you might and what is not helpful. So in terms of the objectives for the week, they are to identify and discuss the resilience of clients and to identify a plan for your own self-care so that you can continue to work with clients experiencing loss, as all of our clients do. The readings this week are 2 chapters from the text, Chapter 3, Resilience and Meaning Making, and Chapter 14, Professional Self-Awareness and Self-Care. There is an article that will be used for the discussion post, Enhancing Well-Being in Social Work Students, Building Resilience in the Next Generation. 2 videos, one of which I have to confess I could not access this one, so you may experience that same difficulty. How the worst moments in our lives make us who we are. And the second one, which is on the subject of rituals and how rituals can help one get through the loss and grief process. There is one discussion post this week. My internet is running a little slow. So the discussion post this week is utilizing self-care. And what you are to do is select one of the approaches from the Grant and Kinman article. Using that information and information from class readings and videos, discuss how you would utilize the chosen approach as a way of focusing on professional self-care and on clients' resiliency. Discuss the potential challenges and or barriers to maintaining your commitment to these plans. What will you need to do to secure the necessary time, support, and resources to maintain your plans for professional self-care, specifically with regard to your work with clients experiencing loss? So you are to respond to 2 of your classmates. As always, the initial post is due on Thursday, and the follow-up posts are due between Friday and Sunday. The next activity is a reflection paper. So it's your final reflection paper. Remember that for the reflection paper, it is 2 to 3 pages of content, excluding the title page and the reference page. And that is due Sunday of next week. Also, as a reminder, grades are due into Widner. I have to post grades by December 13th. In order to avoid Murphy's Law, though what can go wrong will go wrong, I would like to get my grades in by the 11th, which means that you need to get all your work completed by the end of the day next Sunday so that I can get in grades soon thereafter. Check your grades to make sure that everything you have submitted has been graded, and there is a grade posted so that any questions about grades, please bring them up before they get submitted to Widner. talking specifically about the last chapter in the book on professional self-awareness and self-care, the reading talks about the fact that working with the dying and bereaved community can give one a feeling of privilege and meaning and satisfaction, that in helping people deal with their losses and helping those who are dying experience what for them they would consider a good death can again give great meaning to the work that we do as social workers. However, there are downsides to dealing over and over and over again with clients who experience loss, which many of our clients do. Not necessarily death, but many of our clients experience. That's why they come to us, because they are facing some sort of loss. So when we regularly confront loss over and over again, we as professionals can experience our own distress. And what we want to avoid is, in all of our practice, is burnout, because once we burn out, then we're not able to give our clients the support, the attention, and to help them deal with their issues, because we have essentially checked out of working with our clients, and we just can't face it anymore. And sometimes we just keep going to work day after day, but not dealing with the fact that we are not being effective, and we need to avoid that at all costs. So the reading talks about chronic bereavement, which is multiple losses and includes the effects of chronic anticipatory and unresolved grief, as well as the compounding effects of experiencing several episodes of grief concurrently. So if we experience this in our practice and experience this in our personal lives, then it can lead to, again, problems. Compassion fatigue describes the convergence of secondary traumatic stress and cumulative stress or burnout, which is most prevalent among professionals, family members, and associates of trauma survivors. Some of the symptoms are cognitive, lack of concentration, apathy, disorientation; emotional, feeling powerlessness, anxiety or guilt or anger; behavioral, being impatient, irritable, withdrawing, having sleep disturbances; spiritual, questioning life's meaning, purpose; pervasive hopelessness, and if we traditionally have been members of a faith community, loss of faith; problems in personal relationships, mistrust, decreased intimacy, overprotection; somatic, my neck hurts, my heart is beating rapidly, I can't breathe; and then work performance. Everything goes downhill. We're not dealing with our clients well. We have no motivation. We avoid tasks. We have conflicts, and we're irritable. Vicarious traumatization refers to the negative transformation in a helper's inner experience that takes place as a result of deep empathetic engagement with traumatized clients, coupled with a sense of professional responsibility to help. So essentially, we experience the trauma of clients and we become traumatized ourselves. Burnout is that physical, emotional, and psychological exhaustion accompanied by a sense of being demoralized, diminished caring, less creativity, and feeling that we are not accomplishing anything with our work with clients. And again, we need to avoid burnout, because we don't do clients any good when we are not able to function well in our position. We also need to be aware of countertransference and grief. And countertransference, and several of you talked about this in your final culmination paper, that is defined as the personal reactions elicited in the professional relationship directed towards the client and stemming from the professional's own previous experience. And there, the reading talks about a number of signs that you may be experiencing countertransference. In all, in order to avoid all the downsides of working with clients who experience loss after loss and the grief reaction, we have to deal with ourselves. And so we have to take care of our physical self, our psychological self, our emotional self, our spiritual self, and ideally in our workplaces should give us opportunity to talk about our feelings when we have clients that have died, to deal with rituals, so to help us through that process, because our workplaces need to understand that we need help going day to day, just like our clients need that assistance. So with that, this has been a pleasure working with you this semester. I hope that you have learned a lot about the loss and grief process, that you will utilize what you have learned in working with your clients from all walks of life, and to take care of yourself as you take care of others, both personally and professionally. Grades are due in, think of them getting all your work in before the 11th, so the grades can go in on time. And any questions, as always, please email me as soon as possible. Thank you and have a wonderful holiday season.